It began, as so many neighborhood scandals do, with a voice that never learned restraint. Karen's voice, sharp as glass and twice as cutting, echoed through the Costco parking lot on a humid Saturday morning. Her Lexus parked crooked across two handicapped spots, hazards flashing like an arrogant warning. She strutted toward the entrance with the confidence of someone who believed the world spun only because she allowed it. People noticed. They always noticed Karen. She wanted it that way. The platinum blonde hair too perfectly curled, the designer sunglasses perched like a crown, the handbag with a logo larger than reason. It was all part of the theater. But that morning, her performance would meet an audience unwilling to applaud. At Costco, Saturday mornings are sacred. Families flood the aisles for bulk groceries, retirees arrive early for samples, and workers hustle to keep order among carts the size of small boats. Karen, however, treated the store as her personal kingdom. She didn't push a cart. She didn't stand in line. And she certainly didn't believe in waiting like ordinary people. She stormed up to the glass doors, her heels clacking against the pavement. A young greeter, a boy no older than 19, polite and smiling, lifted a hand. "Good morning, ma'am. May I see your membership card?" Karen scoffed as if the request was beneath her. She yanked the sunglasses down her nose, glaring with eyes that could slice stone. "I don't show cards. I'm executive. You open the doors, that's how it works." The boy blinked, uncertain. We just need to scan your card for entry, ma'am. Executive members too." The world seemed to stop as Karen's voice rose an octave higher. "Do you know who I am? I spend more here than your entire paycheck. Executive members don't wait, and they don't answer to children in vests." Heads turned. A mother pulling two toddlers glanced nervously. An older couple stopped mid-step. The greeter's face burned red. He stammered, "Ma'am, please." But Karen was already waving her hand like a conductor silencing an orchestra. "Get me your manager, now. I'll have your job for speaking to me like that." And that was the moment where her demand for control slipped beyond her reach. Because the manager, Miguel Torres, a man who had seen every shade of entitlement in his 20 years running that Costco, had already been watching from the service desk. He walked calmly, clipboard under his arm, expression steady as granite. "Good morning, ma'am," Miguel said, his voice neutral but firm. "I understand there's a concern." Karen turned with the force of a storm. "Concern? Your child greeter just insulted me. I am executive and I don't wait in these lines. I want executive entry through those doors without delay, now." Miguel raised an eyebrow. "Executive entry?" "Yes," she snapped. "Other clubs, other stores recognize status. Do you even understand customer service? I pay more for my membership, which means I get treated differently." Miguel sighed. He had heard variations of this script before, but rarely with such theatrical rage. The crowd had thickened now, people watching as if this were a live performance they hadn't paid for. "Ma'am," Miguel said, evenly, "if you continue harassing staff, I'll have no choice but to call security, and if you refuse to leave, the police." It was gasoline on a fire. Karen straightened to her full height, shoulders squared, lips curling into a smirk. "Call them. Call whoever you like. I am the law here. Do you think a little store manager can stand against me? I know people, important people. You'll regret this." Miguel did not flinch. He nodded once to the greeter, who slipped away with relief, and within moments, two Costco security guards appeared. They stood tall, not threatening, but unmoving, the kind of presence meant to deflate tantrums. But Karen only grew louder. "Touch me and I'll sue, every single one of you. You don't know who you're dealing with." Someone in the crowd muttered, "We do now. A Karen." Laughter rippled through the onlookers. Karen's face darkened like a storm cloud. And then the police arrived. Two officers, summoned by Miguel's quiet call, stepped through the crowd with measured steps. One was tall, bald, with a no-nonsense expression. The other younger, alert. Their presence silenced the murmurs. But Karen only grew louder.
"Finally," she declared, striding toward them with open arms. "Officers, thank goodness you're here. Arrest him," she jabbed a manicured finger at Miguel, "and that boy at the door. They're discriminating against me. Executive members have special privileges, and they're trying to humiliate me." The officers exchanged a glance. The bald one, Officer Daniels, folded his arms. "Ma'am, let's slow down. Why don't you explain calmly?" Karen flipped her hair. "There's nothing to explain. I'm executive. That means I don't show cards, I don't wait, and they're refusing to recognize my status. That's illegal. Arrest them." A pause, and then Officer Daniels said, in a voice calm but edged with steel, "Ma'am, that's not how this works." The crowd chuckled. Karen froze, disbelief etching her features. "Excuse me?" "You're causing a disturbance. These folks are just doing their jobs. Membership rules apply to everyone, executive or not. You need to calm down, or we'll escort you off the property." The silence that followed was heavy with irony. For the first time, Karen's mouth opened, but no words came. Then, in a desperate lunge for dignity, she shrieked, "You can't do this! I am not leaving! This is my store!" It was over. Officer Daniels gestured. The younger officer stepped forward. Together, they guided Karen, still shouting, still proclaiming her rights, through the parking lot. Her Lexus still idled crooked across the handicapped spaces, and when the officers pointed out her illegal parking, her protests grew hysterical. The crowd clapped, not mockingly, but with the satisfaction of people who had seen arrogance finally meet consequence. The greeter's face broke into a relieved smile. Miguel allowed himself a small exhale. Karen, shoved into her car with a warning about trespassing, peeled out of the lot in a screech of tires. The echo of her rage faded with the roar of her engine, leaving behind only whispers and laughter. But the story didn't end there. Karen wasn't a woman who learned lessons. She was a woman who plotted revenge. And in the days that followed, her obsession with Costco, and with Miguel in particular, would drag the entire community into a storm far darker than anyone expected. Because Karen didn't just want entry anymore. She wanted control. And when Karen wanted control, destruction always followed. Karen spent the weekend replaying the scene in her head, each detail twisting tighter inside her chest. The smirks, the laughter, the officers treating her like some hysterical nuisance instead of the important woman she was. Worst of all, the applause. She could still hear that humiliating clap from the crowd as she was escorted out. Her house, a sprawling two-story fortress at the edge of the neighborhood, had once been her sanctuary. But now every mirror reflected back the memory of that morning. Her shrill voice, her reddened face, the officer's firm hands guiding her away. She told herself it wasn't her fault. They had provoked her. They had disrespected her. And Miguel, The smug manager, with his clipboard and calm voice, had orchestrated the whole thing. She swore she would make him pay. Monday morning, she called Costco's corporate office. "I was publicly humiliated by your staff. I demand Miguel's termination immediately." The corporate representative, polite but immovable, explained that all complaints had to go through formal channels. They promised to look into the matter. That phrase, "look into," set Karen's teeth grinding. She wanted immediate vengeance, not polite bureaucracy. So she shifted tactics. She posted on the local Facebook group, her words dripping with righteous fury. "Warning! Costco is discriminating against executive members. Manager Miguel humiliated me in front of dozens of people, refused me entry, and even called the police. Is this how loyal customers are treated?" She expected sympathy, outrage, a rallying of neighbors behind her cause. Instead, comments poured in faster than she could delete them. "Karen, I was there. You screamed at a teenager." "Executive doesn't mean special entrance. Stop embarrassing yourself." "Girl, you parked in a handicap spot. Be glad they didn't tow your Lexus." Humiliation deepened. Screenshots of her post spread beyond the group. By Tuesday, a meme had surfaced, her face mid-scream, captioned, "Executive Tantrum, Aisle 1." Her fury boiled. If the public wouldn't side with her, she would take the private route. She called City Hall. She filed noise complaints, zoning concerns, even alleged health code violations against Costco.
Inspectors arrived Wednesday morning, only to leave puzzled after finding nothing wrong. Miguel handled each visit with steady professionalism, his calm demeanor infuriating Karen further. By Thursday, she marched into city offices in person. "That Costco is a menace," she hissed at a weary clerk. "Rodents in the back room, illegal sales practices. They nearly ran me over with a forklift." The clerk, long used to Karen's theatrics, simply noted her concerns and promised to pass them along. Another dead end. But Karen's mind worked in jagged lines. If bureaucracy wouldn't crush Miguel, she would weaponize her connections. She boasted of knowing police captains, city council members, even state representatives. But when she dialed her friends, they offered polite dismissals. No one wanted to stake their credibility on a petty feud over Costco entry rules. Her desperation took a darker turn. Friday evening, she stormed into Costco again, this time with her phone recording. She shouted at Miguel, demanding to be let in without showing her card. When he refused, she screamed louder, thrusting the camera in his face. "See how they treat executive members," she cried. Customers groaned. One woman muttered, "Not again," and walked away. Security intervened quickly. Miguel, ever calm, gestured for the officers once more. The same bald policeman, Officer Daniels, returned, his patience thinner this time. "Ma'am, we warned you last week. If you continue, we'll have to cite you for trespassing." Karen shoved her phone inches from his badge. "You can't! This is America! I have rights!" Daniels didn't blink. "Yes, ma'am, and so does Costco. They don't want you here right now. You need to leave." When she refused, the citation was written. She left, not in handcuffs, but with a bright yellow ticket fluttering in her hand, a legal mark of her defiance. That night, Karen raged online again, but now the community mocked her openly. Memes multiplied. Someone set her screaming face to dramatic opera music. Children in the neighborhood pointed and whispered when she passed. She had become infamous, not respected. It might have ended there, her reputation shredded, her pride limping. But Karen was incapable of retreat. Her final act of vengeance came Saturday morning. She returns to Costco before dawn, parking once more across handicapped lines.
From her trunk, she hauled a giant poster board, plastered with accusations in bold red letters. Costco discriminates against executive members. Boycott now. She marched to the entrance, planting herself like a barricade. Customers had to maneuver around her as she shouted through a megaphone. Her voice cracked with manic energy. Miguel is corrupt. Costco is corrupt. Join me. No one joined. Some laughed. Others shook their heads. Parents shielded their children from her wild gestures. Miguel appeared once more, tired but resolute. "Ma'am, this is harassment. We're done." Karen shrieked back, "You can't silence me! You'll regret this!" The police arrived swiftly this time. 3 cars, lights flashing. Officer Daniels, weary and firm, approached. "Ma'am, you've crossed the line. You're under arrest for trespassing and disorderly conduct." The crowd gasped, then buzzed with murmurs. Karen's eyes widened as handcuffs clicked around her wrists. She thrashed, screamed about lawsuits, screamed about her rights, screamed about executive privilege. But the officers led her to the patrol car, her poster abandoned on the pavement. And then it happened again. Applause. Not scattered, but thunderous. Customers clapped, laughed, cheered as Karen was placed in the car. The young greeter who had faced her wrath that first morning grinned ear to ear. Miguel gave him a nod, pride in his eyes. The patrol cars rolled away, sirens silent but lights flashing. Karen's Lexus was towed, leaving an empty scar in the handicapped spaces. In the weeks that followed, Costco life returned to normal. The story of Executive Karen lingered in whispers and memes, but she no longer appeared. Rumors swirled, court dates, fines, probation. Some said she moved away, embarrassed beyond repair. Others claimed she still drove past Costco sometimes, glaring at the entrance as though daring it to invite her back. But the truth was simpler. Costco had issued a lifetime ban, and the police, tired of her games, kept close watch on her antics. The community had grown stronger in her absence. The young greeter, once humiliated, now carried himself with quiet pride, knowing he had stood against a storm and endured. Miguel, though weary, smiled more easily, his calm having won over chaos. As for Karen, her name lived on, not in prestige, but in caution. To demand privilege where none existed, to mistake arrogance for authority, to believe the world should bow because she paid a fee. Her story ended not with victory, but with exile. And every time a customer flashed their membership card at the entrance, a quiet understanding passed between them and the greeter, that Costco was not a kingdom, and no Karen, no matter how loud, would ever rule it again.